Yo, what is up? What is up? So, I just want to leave a note for future self. Um, and the key takeaway to keep in mind is whenever custom domains are involved in SST, do not make production deployments from your machine. Rather, set it up to happen from CI/CD right from the get-go, because the way assets are generated seems to cause naming clashes when you move from doing those deployments on your machine to doing them on GitHub Actions, for example, because that's what I've been using, right? So maybe like a quick overview of some of the infra pieces. It's not really necessary, but anyway, just documenting what we can. What I had an issue with was the static site, and also just worth noting that traffic is handled by Cloudflare, so everything else sits in AWS, and then traffic is being handled by Cloudflare. So this repo is very similar to the terminal coffee repo. I basically took lots of inspiration from there, like in terms of how infra is defined. Yeah. Cool. Let's see. Okay, I think let's actually go to GitHub and show the issues that we had. Yeah, so this was one of the issues that we had, and that's around duplicate origin access control for the CloudFront distribution. How I eventually fixed that was by... Okay, I'll get into how I fixed everything at the end, actually. Cool. So the other issue that we had was around Cloudflare DNS records, right? I was getting this error where it's saying like expect the DNS record to not already be present but already exists. It's also worth noting like this same pattern of issues around custom domain. You start by deploying on your local machine and then try and do it in CI. When I was distributing to like just CloudFront directly, so everything being housed within AWS, I still had like similar issues around like these duplicate records. Cool. Okay, this is just showing like me changing the name of the stages of like the deploy stages. This was part of the fix. Cool. I think we've already seen this one. Cool. So how I eventually fixed things was by changing the web resource name. I think let's have this side by side with the code. So before it was GBFM web, and then I actually wanted to change it to like www because that's the name of the file. Yeah, minor thing. I did that so I could like generate new assets, right? Because the new name like denotes a separate thing, so it doesn't like try to over. Okay, I think you understand what that means. And then, yeah, as I showed earlier, I also changed the deployment stages from production and dev to prod and staging, and that is being done where DNS. Yeah, so this was production before, and this was dev. I think I showed that in GitHub earlier. Cool. And then What also helped was like manually deleting all DNS records inside Cloudflare, and then I also deleted all my CloudFront distributions, and then also deleted like the origin access control rules that were linked to those CloudFront distributions. And I just noticed whilst preparing for this that I did not delete my S3 bucket, so I should probably get to that as well. Cool. Another thing that is helpful, like when trying to debug these issues and trying to get, closer to what the actual issue is running SST refresh. That only applies obviously if you're doing that whole move from like local machine to CI. Because my understanding of it is it populates the .sst directory, which essentially keeps the state of your infrastructure as code and the changes that it's gone through, what. I have not really gone deep into like what's actually being kept in here, but yeah, running this in CI also like gets that environment to how do I word this? Basically to parity with reality, I think is how I like to think of it. So yeah, this also helped like just get me onto figuring out the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But I eventually did okay, let me actually show the commit. Yeah, so this is what I had in there. But obviously like after all the issues are fixed, you don't need to be running like, well, I say this, but I haven't done that many more commits since I fixed all of these issues. Anyway, after everything is like working fine, etc., you don't need to run a refresh every time you're doing a deployment from GitHub Actions. Yeah man, I think this is everything. One last thing. So I figured out why you don't have to run SST refresh on subsequent builds. It's because we're caching that directory using this cache action from GitHub. You specify the path that you want to cache, and you give it a key. And where you can find it on the UI is you come to Actions, and then there's like this caches tab. And yeah, I think that's everything for real now.